All right. Welcome back to Dive Vibe. Thanks for coming. I am Zach. I'm a technical rebreather instructor, a fancy scuba instructor, and a former Army combat medic and Army TC3 instructor. I'm going to be reacting to a video of a diver getting caught in a downcurrent in Sipadan, so stay tuned, because it's gonna rule. Okay, Sipadan, guided dive. Diver gets caught in a downcurrent. Let's see what happens. Aww. Just having fun, not knowing we were in for a big surprise. Let's see what we got going on. Well, right off the bat, I'm not seeing any split fins. That makes me happy. Everybody's having a great time. We got a lot of, looks like a drift dive. Well, I said it was a drift dive. I know it's a drift dive. Lot of slack hanging off that BCD, but I'm not worried about that. It's no big deal. Not hurting anything. And it's very possible that that's just a brand new BCD that they're sizing up and left the slack on there to make sure that they have enough room to size it. That's fine. It's fine. Once you get it configured, cut the slack off, leave a little bit in case you ever want to use a thicker wetsuit or a dry suit or something like that, so you can size it out. But other than that, it looks pretty good. Look comfortable. Neutral buoyancy looks good. Drift dive. Okay, so drift dive. Before I start the video back up so I don't interrupt a whole bunch of times, drift diving has its own procedures, and if you're ever going to do a drift dive on your own, I recommend definitely seeking out that knowledge. But if you're doing a drift dive with a guide, there's a couple of things that are nice to know. So the boat's going to drop you off somewhere and pick you up somewhere else. There may or may not be current. Sometimes we just call it a live boat dive here in Kona because we don't always get currents to facilitate a drift dive. So we just start in one place, swim to another, and it's really nice. You get to see more of the reef that way. You don't have to go out and then come back to the boat, which is really cool. So these guys jump in the water, but there's a current taking them. So things to know about this is that you want to have a DSMB, something, and I talk about this all the time. It's a delayed surface marker buoy. You want to be able to launch that to the surface on a spool ahead of yourself so that when you go to the surface, any boats around know that a diver is planning to surface there. So typically when you get up for your safety stop, launch a DSMB unless the guide is doing it for you. That way the guide knows that, or I'm sorry, not the guide, but the boats around you know that someone's about to come up there. And the boat that's picking you up has a better idea of where you're going to be so they can pick you up nice and easy. Cool? Cool. Another thing to know about drift diving, often overlooked, is never, ever, ever, ever swim towards a boat underwater. All right? When you get to the surface, you surface right next to your DSMB. Right? Or right next to the guide's DSMB, depending on how the dive is going, because that's the only place that the boat is expecting you to be. The boat needs to maneuver. It could have other boats that it's trying to avoid, it could have other divers that it's trying to avoid, or it could just be moving to pick you up, and if you swim towards it underwater, that's very, very bad situation to be in. So even when you're on the surface, don't put your head in the water and like snorkel towards the boat. Eyes up. Wait for the captain to say, come, you can come towards the boat now, it's safe. Failure to do so and you will seriously regret it. Even if you don't get hurt, that captain is going to be scared and probably going to yell at you. All right. Wow. Some fun camera work. Wow. I'm going to get seasick from this. That's not true. I don't get seasick. Unless it's the day after the company Christmas party. Alright, where are we going? Lots of fish. This looks like a great dive site. The current's getting stronger and stronger. Yeah. Ooh, pennant butterfly. More shidle. Coral is super pretty. Wow. Gorgeous. You don't want to be this close to the reef. Uh-oh. Bell ringing. Man, they are really moving now. Okay, down current. In a down current now. That is not fun. So down current, what happens in down current? Most of the time, down current takes place near a wall. So if you've ever been to Cozumel or something like that, it's a lot of wall diving. There's a lot of places that are famous for wall diving. But basically, you're diving along a wall. It's pretty self-explanatory. And if the current starts pulling you down, that's a down current. And what you would do in that situation, you can add air to your BCD to try and resist it. They can be extremely strong, though. But they're usually pretty close to the wall. So if you swim away from the wall and up, because these things will pull you down, and you don't want to get pulled down deeper than your planned depth, especially if you're on tables, because then who knows. Hopefully everybody's just diving computers now. Computers is a lot better way to go for recreational divers. If you ask me if you have questions about computers, I promise I can convince you why you should be diving a computer. Just ask in the comments. I got you, no problem. Trust me, you want to be diving a computer. You just may not have realized it yet. But anyway, it pulls you down. You don't want to be going too deep, so you can add air to your BCD. You can swim. It's just like a rip current. You swim perpendicular to it, except for with the down current, it's nice to swim perpendicular to it and then up a little bit so that you're keeping yourself from being pulled down as you're swimming away. Okay, so let's see what happens. This dude is moving. You're in trouble. I'm not even going to touch on all the coral he's probably hitting. Don't touch coral. Don't hurt coral. Oh, Divemaster to the rescue. What's up? This guy's paying attention. Okay, he's grabbing onto something. Give him some slack. I can see he's looking for spots without coral on it. All right, so when you can't swim against it, unfortunately, this really is your only option to grab onto something like that. You know, if the group had been a little tighter, then this might not have been an issue in the first place. But, you know, I don't want to Monday morning quarterback this Divemaster too hard. Can I check and see if your camera's recording? The Divemaster, I mean, I think it's pretty good. Was banging on the tank. All right. Oh, we get a second view. Oh, we get a lot of freediving fins. Freediving fins can be popular with guides in places with current because it helps them fight against it. Me, I prefer a scooter. Let me know in the comments if you guys want me to do a video about my scooter. It's pretty affordable, and I think a lot of people are going to be diving them in the future. Whew. Look at that. Just blowing in the breeze of the current. Yeah, they are moving. Oh, look at all that coral. It's awesome. I've never been to Sipadan. I think I want to go. Get your hands off that coral! There's rocks everywhere. Grab a rock. Grab some rock. Oh, this guy's got a tripod on his GoPro. Serious business. Tripods are great for filming octopus, as long as you know what you're doing and can put it down without hurting anything on sand or rock. Oh, selfie mode. Oh, that was him. Okay, I get it. I should have figured that out faster because he flipped it on the camera on himself. That's why the color looks so good. He had those lights on there. All right. So this one ends pretty well. Honestly, didn't see too much bad stuff in there. Most divers aren't taught a whole lot about down currents in scuba class, and to be totally honest, I've experienced them very sparsely. I haven't encountered a whole lot of down currents, but that's just the nature of the beast where I dive. We don't get a lot of them. I've experienced a lot of weird kinds of currents. I've definitely been pushed up a wall before. That's kind of alarming. So if you're caught in a down current, what do? There's a couple things you can do. I talked about it already, but there's one key element I just remembered that I missed. So you need to, gonna add some air to your BCD if you can't get out of it just by swimming. Swim perpendicular, horizontal, out of it. Swim out of it, not against it. And a little bit against it. You come up a little bit because you want to fight that big force downward too. You want to make sure that you're slowing that down. You can add air to your BCD. Here's the really important part. If you're adding air to your BCD to get you up out of this down current. Once you are out of it, you need to be very ready to let the air out of your BCD. Otherwise, you're going to have the exact opposite problem as you have a buoyant ascent, which you definitely don't want to do. The air in your BCD starts expanding. BCD, for the non-divers, by the way, buoyancy control device. That's the jacket you wear, the vest, wing, however it's set up, and you have an inflator on your shoulder. You can add air to it to give you positive buoyancy or let air out to give you negative buoyancy. Super convenient for diving. They used to dive without them back in the day, and it's way safer, way better now with BCDs. But yeah, you need to make sure that you're ready to let that air out, because the air in the BCD will expand and you'll go faster and faster and faster on the way to the surface. If your dump valves are old and sticky and haven't been actuated in a while, then there's a chance your BCD will rupture, which might save you actually if you're going up too fast, but then you can't get positive buoyancy at the surface. So there's all kinds of problems with that. So that's a good lesson, to make sure that your gear is serviced and working. I've definitely had my BCD pop before. It was during a class. I was inflating my BCD to show my students how the overpressure valve on the dump valves, the OPVs, how they work and how they'll automatically let air out rather than pop your BCD. And since I'm an instructor and my gear gets treated like crap sometimes, I went to inflate my BCD and blew it up, which was entertaining. And then you segue into, and this is why you service your gear. I'm sorry, bad. Yeah, I think that's about it. Ups and downs. What's good, what's bad? We always do this. Honestly, not too much bad. I would say maybe they could have kept the group a little bit tighter, but I mean, it wasn't that bad. There were people touching coral. That sucks. If you're diving long fins, I didn't see any problems with you. Diving long fins, like free diving fins like that, you got to make sure that you're not hitting any coral with them, because you're way more likely to do that with those fins. But I didn't see any of that, so no problem. Don't touch coral. If you don't have to, you'll say that one more time. What went well? The dive master saw the problem happening right away. Quality dive master came over to actually help the person. I've seen dive masters that are kind of jaded and lazy, and all they do to try to correct a problem is they just sit there and look at the diver that has no idea what's going on, and they shake their little shaker or bang on their tank, and they just act like they couldn't be inconvenienced to swim over and help that diver. It's ridiculous. Kind of makes me sick, honestly. If you're a dive master, just take a week off or something. If you're like that, take some time off, reset, and then go back to it, because these people don't mean to cause you these problems. They're just not. They just don't know, and it's your job to teach them. So teach them. Don't be a jerk. Anyway, sorry. I'm sure all of you are great. But anyway, yeah, I think that's about it. If you liked the video or you learned something, please hit the like button, because it really helps me out. Let's go for 100 likes on this video. See if we can make it. That's not too tall of an order. Help me out. Come on. That'd be sad if I couldn't get 100 likes. Subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Reaction videos aren't the only thing I do. Lots of dive videos, reviews, stuff like that. And if you want to support the channel, you can buy one of my t-shirts. There's new ones coming out soon. They're going to be awesome. This is one of them. This is not a new one. This is the old OG. But yeah, you could buy a t-shirt, or you could support my work on Patreon for $5 a month. And that'd be great. I love you forever. Thanks for diving with me today, and I'll see you in the water. Beat by Apollo, stop at New Apollo's. Cop a Henny sour, and I'm puffing Jack sour. Yeah, I feel a black power. Yeah, this time it's really ours. It's time to get the bag. Yeah, it's time to get